No, I got it.
Who wants more sales? I do. It looks like pretty much everybody in this room. Well, our next presenter is going to tell you exactly how to do that. In fact, we just heard how he tripled his client's business in like 30 days? Who wants that? In under 30 days, who wants that? This is a guy who truly knows sales inside out. If you got a question, he's got an answer. And now he's going to present for us sales, how to triple it in 30 days or less. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Perfect. All right. So, hope everyone's pumped after that.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So. Yes, if you would, thank you. All right, so today what I'm going to share with you is my framework, the 5-step process to getting more of the best clients for you. And oh yeah,
There you go.
how's that? All right, perfect. So I'm going to share with you my 5-step process for how I go about helping businesses not just survive, but thrive in a very uncertain and challenging environment. And I will share with you an example, a case study of one of my clients when we were able to nearly triple their sales results in under 30 days. Let's jot that right in. So let's talk about, we first talk about what are some of the key trends that are creating what we call a buyer's market that is making things pretty challenging for pretty much most businesses. And then we'll get into the specific steps in my framework for getting more clients more consistently and without inordinate time spent. There's lots of things you can do to get clients, but a lot of them cost time, a lot of them cost money. So what can you do in the most efficient and effective way to grow your client base? We'll talk about that. And then we'll get into that case study that I alluded to earlier. So how one particular business I've been working with, and I continue to work with, had nearly tripled their results in under 30 days. All right. So I think we've all heard this. Change is the only constant. There are several key trends that are making it harder than ever was before to attract the right kinds of clients. And we'll talk about what those changes are. And it's essentially a very different world today than it was, 15, 20, or even 5 years ago. The pace of change has been rapidly accelerating. And as Charles Darwin had said, is essentially the species that adapt and adjust to change. They're the ones that ultimately not just survive, but thrive in their environment. So this is often oversimplified to survival of the fittest. That's not exactly what he said. It's really about adapting and adjusting to change, which is what I help my clients do. So, what are the forces that are challenging the growth of your business and the businesses out there? Well, there are a number of options out there, a plethora of options out there. So, if you think about what you do, chances are you're somebody who can do it for cheaper offshore, right? So, there's been, for many years now, sites in Philippines, India, even China, that basically offer relatively cheaper services than what you can find here in North America. There are also new tech solutions coming up. We have whole new fields like fintech, for instance. We have in the legal space, LPOs, legal process outsourcers. We have solutions like e-discovery and so on. So basically technical solutions or technological solutions to age-old problems. Then we also have the rise of AI. The bots are going to take over. So that is another thing that we're gonna have to contend with, and it's coming up and it's coming up fast. Driverless cars, well, we haven't seen anything yet. Newer business models, there's always somebody out there looking to come and eat your lunch. Look at what Netflix did to Blockbuster. Where's Blockbuster now? Right? New business model, disruptive. The number of buyers out there is shrinking and will continue to shrink. Reason being, there's a lot of consolidation going on. Globalization is continuing to have its impacts. Basically, the bigger getting bigger, the smaller shrinking and dying. And so how do you compete in that world? For instance, I worked in the airline industry, and particularly in the US, we had, over 10 years ago, we had 12 to 16 airlines. Now we're down to 4 major airlines. So think about all the businesses that were serving those additional 78 additional airlines. What happened to them, right? There's more demand, more, essentially your buyers have become more demanding. So they're asking you more, to give them more or less, right? And there's intense competition. So amidst all of that, we have our buyers that are far too busy. It's very hard to get meetings. They're stuck on their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. Every time they get that notification, it's like a shot of cocaine. It's basically hits the same pleasure centers in your brain, right? So it's addictive. And let's not forget those cute cat videos that always want to be shared. So people don't really have time for meetings anymore. So when you finally do crack that shell and you get that meeting, how are you going to make the most of it? That is the challenge. So as a result of all that, business owners are feeling extremely frustrated, feelings of helplessness that are all-time high, it's constant pressure, especially for smaller businesses, owner-operators. They have to deliver, find more clients, take people out, expensive lunches, but get virtually nothing in return. So, and then on top of that, there's a lot of future uncertainty. Those forces that we just talked about, they're all intensifying. And there's a big question about the business cycle, that 4 to 7 years, boom bust. Are we due for another correction? Well, there are a lot of pundits who think that is the case. And so what's going to happen, as hard as it is now, what's going to happen when that happens? And you're not ready for it. So what can be done? So what if there was a way that was more efficient, effective, more consistent to get more of the best kind of clients? Well, what needs to happen? So first step is, how do we get there? Build a solid foundation. That starts with knowing who your best client is, who your ideal clients, and what is your unique value prop, which is essentially answering the question, why should I choose you? Next step is developing a targeted outreach action plan. Keyword, action. Planning is not enough, you gotta take action. Third step is building a client acquisition process. This is essentially your funnel. What are the stages I need to take somebody through to take them from suspect, prospect, to a client that's actually paying? Fourth step is, you can't manage what you don't measure. Let's start measuring. How well are we doing? Where do we need to improve? Continuous improvement. Right? A lot of companies out there that are not doing it very well. If you can do this, you can just get ahead of the pack. Fifth step is driving for excellence in client winning interactions. That's where the rubber meets the road, right? How do we prospect effectively? How do we qualify effectively? How do we deal with objections? That's what I help. That's what I help businesses do. And how do we close without feeling pushy or sleepy? That's another skill a lot of people lack. So that's my framework, and I'll get into a case study of how I helped one particular firm nearly triple their results in under 30 days. So,
Obviously, you're at about 8.5 minutes, okay?
thank you. So when we started, here's where they were at. This is their words, not mine. We're in the ICU. We need urgent intervention. We need a rapid turnaround, right? So what we did was we mapped out their current state. These are their words. Downward spiral, lack of security, unsustainable. We're we're heading to a cliff, we don't have a good pipeline, it's very unstable. We mapped out current state, we mapped out where we want to be. Where they wanted to be was the polar opposite of this. We don't want to be worried about having to lay off people, we actually want to grow, and we want to grow hard. So what can we do to get there? And if you look at the data, this is exactly what we saw. They work in terms of the number of files they get from their clients. So 2016, they had 133, 2017, 82. That's a 38, nearly 40% drop. Why did it drop? They had a rainmaker in the firm or in the organization who was responsible for all the relationships and bringing in the business. He left all of a sudden. Guess what happened? This is what happened. So this is the taller bars of 2016, the shorter bars of 2017. That's what was happening in 2017. So what did we do? Well, we basically built a strategy around my framework, where we developed a strategic roadmap, we did an organizational analysis of the client companies, identified the low-hanging fruit to go after, and then created the targeted outreach strategy that I talked about earlier. Then we created a plan, and we executed. So we set up sales meetings with key individuals, and helped them prepare for those meetings, gave them strategy and coaching and tactical execution, helped them refine their messaging, and we did an intense messaging clinic so that when they got there, they knew exactly what they needed to say to be able to get more work coming in. So what happened? What were the results? Pre-engagement, this is what we saw. Oh, by the way, the individual that left at the end of July. So you can see what happened there. So when did I come in? I came in around the end of January, pretty much early February is when I came in. So what happened? Look at that. Nearly tripled the amount of results they had under 30 days through those interventions. What does that mean? Well, if you do the math, so each individual file for them is worth anywhere from between 25,000 to could be as much as over 150,000. Right? In the 5 months since we've been working together, we've added 14 more files than they were at in the 5 months previously. What does that mean? That's about $650,000 at the low end. At the low end. That's meaning at the low end. That's $650,000 in added revenue value that we just produced there. So nearly a 300% increase from where they were before. So to wrap it up, business marketplace, as we talked about, is continuously evolving. It is becoming harder than ever to attract and gain new clients, and those forces against your business are only intensifying. We cover the 5-step process, building the foundation, target outreach, building the client acquisition process, performance tracking and feedback, and driving for excellence and sharpening the saw in our client interactions. So with our results-oriented approach, we nearly tripled the sales results of our client business. What can we do for you? Okay.
Hamza will be around to answer questions right after the meeting, so we want to give him a chance to finish up this awesome presentation. So. Trying to keep things on track here. Great job, Glenn. Do we have any committee reports today?